Hi, Professor Maria Barkitieva. Thanks for joining On A Biz program. We are feel very honored to have you with us today. As you mentioned in your presentation, you use the term mediatization. Can you tell us a little bit more what you mean by that term?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me for this interview. By mediatization, media scholars mean that more and more areas of our social life and of course of our personal lives as well have become conducted through some form of media. So our face-to-face interactions and activities are being now replaced by forms of action and interaction dependent on and supported on different media of communication in this case. This is not a new phenomenon. It has been going on in human history ever since writing was invented, and the arts of government and the activities of education and religion started being performed and conducted via this new medium, which writing was at the time. However, with that historical example in mind, we would be able to make the comparison with what's going on today, and we will realize that media are in between absolutely every interaction that we have with all kinds of social bodies as well as individual people.
Would that mean that people in general, no matter it's in Thailand, in Canada, or anywhere else in the world, would spend more time on the media and less time on personal communication?
I think that is a logical conclusion to reach. However, I think also that we have to be careful when we say that, because personal communication remains as a part of what we do. However, we do it via media. So the communication remains personal when you answer an SMS or when you are chatting with somebody on instant messenger, or when you're updating your profile, if you would like, or liking something on Facebook. You are most of the time in some kind of personal communication. However, it's not face-to-face.
Exactly,
that's what I'm going to say. Immediate, right? It's conducted via the channel of technology, but also the institution and the cultural forms that are all wrapped up into this medium that you're using.
Would you want to make a brief comment now whether that is going to be good or bad for human being?
Yes. Well, unfortunately, the good and bad always go hand in hand, or maybe should I say fortunately. They're very difficult to separate, because with the latest generation of social media, we see how our power to cooperate with other people, to get together with them for any kind of purpose, be it finding a job, searching for help through our social network, which some scholars call increasing our social capital. So that's good, that's helpful, right? Or if we organize a petition asking government to reduce the fees of mobile phones, or any kind of cause that we may care about, or to protect the environment. Media like Facebook, like blogging, even Twitter, they make it easier for people to organize, to come together around a cause and to exert influence on powers.
Yeah, so we have media, digital medialization, and then we have social media. So I guess this has to do with the access to the internet. The access to the internet increase the use of the social network. Is that fair?
Yes, it is very much so, and it is a different question exactly through what networks and devices the internet is being accessed, because we see nowadays a growth in mobile access to the internet. more and more people use the internet through their smartphone, through their cell phones. And computers are not so key. They remain the preferred platform, but device to connect to the internet. But yes, you need to be connected to the internet in order to use social media. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And as I was starting to explain in my answer to your previous question, the negative effects also come alongside the positive, because when people use social media, they leave behind them this trail of information, of personal information, which governments, but mostly companies, commercial players, can collect, save, data mine, and as a result of that, we are being profiled, we are being offered certain services without really having much choice to what we see on our screens and what is offered to us. With that, we become targets for control by commercial organizations. And in some ways that could be good. In other ways, it can limit the chances of people to have a more diverse spectrum of choices in their lives, to prefer different things than what the corporate decision makers, the marketers decided they might want. So in some ways our freedoms are being squeezed within this profiling practice.
Are there any other negative impacts of these social media things?
Well, other obvious negative impacts are the things that many people know about firsthand, like cyberbullying, like cybercrime. Once again, by spreading this information about ourselves and by putting our social lives at stake and so much invested in these social media platforms, we become vulnerable to all kinds of attacks by people who don't mean good and by people who want to harm us, by predators, but even sometimes in teenage circles in particular, people get bullied and get harmed by their own peers, which is much more easy to do these days than it was before.
And then what you gonna say, what is the best thing, the best thing that social media has done to human being?
Well, I think one of the best things that it has done is that it has helped us realize how important our sociality is. It has made our social networks visible to us. And now that has given us the chance to reflect on what these networks mean to us and to try to be smart and to manage these networks for good things, to achieve our goals with the help with our friends and peers from our networks.
Now we're gonna move to the next issue. In your presentation at this seminar, you have shown that people in developing countries who use internet would tend to use social media such as Facebook more than those people in developed nations.
Yes.
Could you explain to us why is that?
Yeah, I think I can think of three different reasons. One is because adoption of the internet in those non-Western countries, developing countries, has come about a bit later than in the developed world. So by the time the majority of current users in developing countries started using the internet, social media were already part of the picture. So they had this immediate attraction to new users. For many people, to use the internet means to be on social media, whereas in the developed world, people were already using the internet in other ways before social media came along. So now they have to gradually move their attention and their practices from what they did before social media and onto social media. It is happening, but not so explosively. Whereas in the non-Western countries, social media and the internet came together. Plus, the people in the developing countries who are most active as internet users are the young people. And what is so key in a young person's life? Their social network, their friends, to be out there where the crowd is, to be part of the action, the social action. And because of that reason, because of youth, social media show this great percentage of usage in the developing countries. And finally, the third thing is, I would relate it also to mobile communication, because again, in the developing countries, some of the data show that the internet is used by a lot of people via mobile devices. I think that this has an effect, because social media are the most convenient thing to fit the mobile device, and that's why they become a preferred application and a preferred way to use the internet.
Professor Maria, thank you very much for your information and for you to join this ON A BIZ program this week. And I really appreciate that you share your knowledge. You flew for such a long way from Canada to share the knowledge with the audience at this seminar. I hope you can join us again in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to fly in and share my knowledge. That's what we do as professors and researchers. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.